What's going on? This is episode 2 of Sports on the Go. Today we got Jinwoo Moon here from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Jinwoo, how are you doing?
What's up, George? I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing fine. The NBA had some more games on last night, and a couple came down to the wire. One of the biggest games was the Boston Celtics versus the Portland Trailblazers. As we all know, the Portland Trailblazers trying to make a run for the 8th seed and catch the Memphis Grizzlies. But the Celtics pulled away with the win after Jason Tatum decided to cut his hair off after having the terrible 2 for 18 shooting game. So, Jinwoo, what did you think about
Sure.
that game? Do you think the Celtics are, after that win, does that prove that they're ready for a deep playoff run, or do you think the Blazers really choked and they're going to struggle to get the 8th seed now that they've lost?
I mean, I don't think the Celtics are going to choke, but historically speaking, we've seen that they've lost a few times in the finals. So they might have to be more wary about that. And also the chemistry issue since last year, since Kyrie joined the team. I think that's gotten a lot better compared to last year. So I think they have a good shot at the finals this year. Uh, Today we saw Jason Tatum go off, and I think he's showing what he's made of. And I think we can expect that in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jason Tatum put up some phenomenal stats last night. He dropped 34 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds. And I think that's exactly the bounce back game he needed to be successful because, as we all know, the Celtics struggled against the Bucks. Even though it was a close game, they did struggle. So having this win against Portland, a team that's trying to make their way into the playoffs, was very important. You saw Jaylen Brown also drop 30 points and Kemba 14. So do you think it's really important for the Celtics to have Jason Tatum as their established leader or Kemba Walker? Who do you think, like, as we all know, we have the big three with Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. So do you think Jason Tatum needs to carry the load like he did last night, or can he manage to only score 20, 15 points a game and have Kemba and Brown also go off? Like, what do you think, who needs to be the leading scorer on this team and who needs to take charge?
So what we have to consider before I establish my opinion on that matter is that Jason Tatum, just a few months ago, he wasn't the scorer he is now.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that?
I agree. I think he's evolved as an NBA player and he's really finding his way in the league.
Yeah, but also, frankly speaking, he's been pretty inconsistent this season until a few months ago.
Yep.
And I think, why not just split the load between Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker? Because Kemba Walker, we all know he's a pretty good player. He's an all-star caliber player that has experience leading his own team in Charlotte a few years ago.
Yep.
And I think he has the veteran experience he can mentor Jason Tatum on how to lead the team in the future.
Yeah, and
And we all know that Jason Tatum's a good scorer, and Kemba Walker can be a reliable teammate. So I think it'll be a perfect mix if they can split the weight load for that team.
exactly, and it's going to be interesting seeing Kemba Walker in the playoffs because, as we all know, he has not been in the playoffs a lot, playing for Charlotte a long time now. So seeing him with the Boston Celtics, we could be in for a surprise and seeing how he performs under all the pressure. The other game last night that was very surprising was the Phoenix Suns versus the Dallas Mavericks, and the Phoenix Suns
Oh
coming
no.
away with the 2-point win. Right now, the Suns have beaten Wizards 125-112, and now coming to beat the Dallas Mavericks, who are looking to make their way higher seeding for the playoffs. So, you being a Mavericks fan, does this give you any
Yes.
concern? Because looking at it from the outside without any bias, we all know what Doncic is capable of. He's a great scorer, possibly he is an MVP candidate for this season, although we all know it's going to LeBron or Giannis, but still had a fantastic season after his rookie year. And we all know Porzingis is coming along. We saw last night Doncic drop 40 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, and having Porzingis with 38 and 1. So as a Mavericks fan, is it concerning that they dropped that game? Because we all know that these games are very important for them. They're trying to find their groove, and they're trying to make their way higher seeding so they don't have to play hard teams, for example, the Clippers, who they are scheduled to play right now in the playoffs if it all started today. So do you think there's a concern from the Mavericks, or do you think the Suns are just playing really good basketball because they have nothing to lose?
For me, as a Mavericks fan, I think this game against the Phoenix Sun is a that good reminder of the trend that has been going throughout this season. And what I mean by this trend is the fact that our team has been doing pretty good over the first three quarters,
Yeah,
but it's a common trend that common pattern, I might say, that in the fourth quarter we kind of choke.
yeah,
We lose a lot of leads in the fourth quarter, even though we're up by a lot to many teams,
yeah.
such as the Phoenix Suns. Talent-wise, I feel the Mavericks are way better than the Phoenix Suns. You can't disagree with that, can you?
No, I think it was disappointing to see the Mavericks lose that game, and I think they really should have won that game last night.
Yeah, this shows this game against Phoenix Suns shows that the Mavericks can't rely just on two people to finish and wrap up the game.
Exactly.
Doncic scored 40 and Porzingis scored 30, which is 70 in total for these two people.
Yep.
But I think the other starters like Tim Hardaway Jr., who kind of struggled from the arc today, they need to step up their game. So especially during the fourth quarter, so that the Mavericks can have a good fight for in the playoffs.
And what's interesting to watch is the Phoenix Suns being the 13th seed in the West right now, only 4 games behind the Grizzlies. You see them; they have nothing to lose, so they're leaving it all on the floor. So the Suns also had Booker drop 34 and 3, and DeAndre Ayton only dropped 7 points last night. So I think for the Suns, what's going to be really important is if DeAndre Ayton can emerge to be that second star. For a while now, Booker has been struggling carrying all the load for the Suns, and that's why the Suns haven't been able to push their way into the playoffs because of their lack of talent and experience on the team and not having veterans. So I think, how important do you think it is for the Suns if they somehow make it into the playoffs and the 8th seed and have to end up playing the Lakers? Do you see the Suns giving any challenge to the Lakers at all if Aiden can step up, Rubio starts playing well, Bridges? Do you think there's any way that can happen?
Can I be completely honest with you?
Yeah.
I don't. The most I can see if they go against the Lakers in the playoffs is up to 5 games.
Okay.
Lakers winning. So the Suns have enough talent. They have DeAndre Ayton. They have Devin Booker. Those two are rising stars, I
Yep.
might say. But for right now, DeAndre Ayton isn't polished enough
No.
as a second scorer on their team. And Devin Booker, well, he's having a hard time, but he's already established himself as a good player in the NBA. So I think it's a matter of the chemistry in the team and also DeAndre Ayton stepping up. If they can, and that will be the major factor if they can clinch a playoff spot this year.
All right, and the last thing I wanted to talk about here was we all know that this 8th seed for the West is something that 5 teams are really hunting for right now. We have the Grizzlies who are trying to hold the spot, who have just lost 2 games in a row. We have the Blazers who have been in 2 really tight games, beating the Grizzlies and losing to the Celtics. We have the Suns, the Spurs, the Pelicans. If you were gonna put your money on one of these teams to to keep this 8 spot, either the Grizzlies keep it or someone else takes it, who do you think is best fit to make the playoffs right now and challenge the Lakers? Who do you think is going to get that spot? Because we all know the Pelicans with benching Zion because he isn't fully ready to play in long games. The Grizzlies are now losing a couple games. The Blazers have the experience in the playoffs because they were in the Western Conference Finals last season. It's like, where do you think? Who do you think is going to get that 8 spot?
This might be a very controversial statement in the NBA right now, but I think the Trailblazers have a good shot at making the playoffs. So the Trailblazers have playoff experience even until last year, where they eliminated a really good team that I actually forgot. Sorry about that, but we all know that Damian Lillard is a really good NBA player right now, and then he's also, I would say, in the top 10 right now if we exclude the injured players like Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. Uh, and then we saw last year in the playoffs what Damian Lillard can do. He's pretty clutch. And then CJ McCollum, I think, is a really good second main scorer on the team.
Yep.
And I think Trailblazers in general have a good chemistry, and it's just a matter of how they match up against other teams in the remaining regular season games that will determine if they make the 8 spot or not.
And I think many people would say right now that the Blazers are the favorites to get that spot because of the talent they have. I think when you look at their roster, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Nurkic, who's been hurt for most of the year, so it's not really his fault. Carmelo Anthony picking up late. I think that team with a roster next season, we could be looking at them as a top 5 seed in the West. And with all the talent they have, they should be looking for a championship right now, but they're not. So do you think Terry Stotts' job is on the line if the Blazers next season especially don't make a run for the championship? Like, what do you think is a successful season for the Trailblazers next year? And what do
Well,
you think how can they guide success?
well, in determining what successful will be for the Trailblazers, I think keeping everyone healthy and keeping the chemistry together, and also make clinching a lower end playoff spot would be considered successful in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because right now they're in the 10th seed, so they might be eliminated. But talent-wise, the Trailblazers have a lot of talent. CJ McCollum, as you said, Damian Lillard, he's clutch as well, and he's top 10 NBA player. I'm guessing right now. A lot of people, a lot of fans think that as well.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think it's just a matter of keeping the team together and also making sure everyone's healthy. Like Nurkic was a big part of the Trailblazers, and the fact that he got injured was a detrimental issue, and it was a major factor in the Trailblazers falling down to the 10th spot.
Yeah. Thank you, Jinwoo, for tuning in today. Thank you for your hot takes, and thank you for keeping that mask on. We need to keep socially distanced. Uh, I'm sure we'll see you again soon in the future. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you next time for episode 3 on Sports on the Go.